everyone. Welcome into the Her Hoop Stats podcast. It is, let me check here, Thursday, November 6th. Gotta stay on top of that. I am, of course, JB Steyer Johnson, along with, folks, strap in, get your drink, get your snack, because it's me and Chelsea Leite here. So be prepared. We've got several topics to tackle here, and we've gotten some of our yapping out before recording because naturally we have been on this call for a half hour before we allowed BMAC to press the record button.
Yeah.
And we are going to start up in Chelsea's neck of the woods. Chelsea, Toronto Tempo. I could say Toronto correctly. I now laugh at people who don't say it.
I've done so well for you.
You have. I feel cultured. I feel like I am in the know. But you are really in the know because you were there. You got to be there for the announcement of the first ever head coach in Tempo history. Mm-hmm. Heck of a hire, Sandy Brondello. Tell us about the day. Tell us about the move.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic day, a very long day for both me and Sandy Brondello. We were in several places, in similar places, but yeah, it was just like, first of all, just like the hire in general. I mean, we talked about this last week a bit when the reports were out that she was coming to Toronto, but just like, I think the big thing was with other Toronto media that were there who, maybe aren't as, haven't watched the WNBA as much, like just the fact, I kept saying, like, the fact that we got someone like Sandy Brondello is just out of this world. Like, I still, sometimes I'm like, wow, like we got her. That's crazy. And like, and this is a very common thing in Toronto sports is like, we very much love when people want to come here because it is like, it's a little bit of an extra haul. You have to go to a different country. You got to there's a lot of factors that go into that decision. So I understand it's not like, sometimes it's not what people want to do, but when people want to come here and they choose to come here, it just makes people like that much more endeared to them. And the fact that she just kept on saying like, yeah, like I chose to be here. I wanted to be here. This is where I wanted to be. And like, we know, like she had other offers. She could have gone to Dallas. She could have gone to Seattle very easily. They wanted her. And she was like, I want to come to Toronto. And the wild part too is like, Monica Rogers, who's the GM, and it's really fun. They're the only WNBA team who has a former player as GM and a former player as coach at the same time, which is really cool. I think, especially as we talk about like trends in WNBA coaching, trends in WNBA front offices, to have two former players with WNBA experience and WNBA coaching and front office experience, it's just like a cool place to be for a new team. But the thing that Monica said on Tuesday that just really struck a chord with me was the fact that she was like, yeah, like I've been doing this search since July, had a short list of people, was interviewing, all of that stuff. And then obviously the news comes out about Sandy in New York. And like her whole thing was like, it would have been wrong not to try. Like, you have to try. And she was like, she was like, I even thought like the way she was saying it, it was kind of like saying like she didn't think that she would come, but like she had to try. And the fact that she not only wanted to come, but like ended up coming, is so excited to be here, really sees the vision, really loves the like team that they're building there. I think is just such a great sign of what, the Tempo are building. And like, I guess from a personal level, just like every interaction I had with Sandy that day in terms of just like asking her questions or, just like meeting her for the first time, she was just like so nice, so happy to be there, so good at answering questions, so willing to talk about, her vision for the team, her coaching philosophy, talked a little bit about her process of deciding, to come here as opposed to going other places. And then it was nice as well. She, that night went to the Raptors game. And so it was nice to see her like introduced to the like wider Toronto community as opposed to just a press conference. People were really excited to have her at the game. And then yesterday, I saw that they hosted like a big dinner with all of the coaches in Toronto. So they had her, they had Darko, they had the Raptors 905 coach from the G League. I think they had, a few other people there from different organizations, but yeah, it was just really cool to see, it's a small community here, so it's nice to see her being integrated, and it's really exciting that we have someone of that caliber coming in as our first head coach, someone who's committed to being here for, the process, someone who wants to build something really special, someone who just has that championship experience. And yeah, it was a really fun day and just like a really fun milestone to hit as an expansion team.
And I know, like, just from obviously, we all kind of live vicariously through each other
Yeah.
in like the W community. And
Yep.
so, like, I've watched the interactions with Miles Ehrlich out in New York with Sandy and always just found that really endearing, and just that
Mhm.
she obviously does have like that understanding of the importance of the media and having a good relationship with them, and is super open to
Yeah.
those connections. And so then when you talk about like, yeah, I had great interactions with her, it just is like, yeah, that's kind of what I would anticipate. And for an expansion team, that's crucial. You also talk about, it's a little bit of that extra hurdle to go up to Canada as opposed to the rest of the league being set in the US. But Sandy's also not American. So like for her, it probably is like, well, what difference does it really make
Yeah.
which country I'm residing in if it's a great opportunity? And
Yeah.
so that definitely is so just cool to see. You get a little bit more of that like international flavor where we got
That's
that in Golden State this past season, and now we're expanding into Canada. You've got an Australian head coach, and who knows who's going to be on the roster. So it's really cool. I think it's great for like the global expansion of the W.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that was touched on a lot on Tuesday, whether people were asking her about it, whether it was just her bringing up like her international experience. I will say, like, she does have roots in the States. Like, her kids
Oh, for
still go to
sure.
school in Phoenix. She's still based in Phoenix. I think, based on what I was kind of hearing around on Tuesday, like, she will be in Phoenix for the most part. And obviously, when the season starts, she's going to be here. But like, for the school year,
Mhm.
be with her kids and stuff. And I mean, as of right now, everything WNBA wise is kind of at a standstill, so it's not like she like has to be here. Um, so yeah, and like, but so that's like just another thing of like, okay, you have roots in America, like your kids go to school there. Her kids were probably born there, maybe I don't know, um, but yeah, to like, pick up and move to another country. But yeah, I mean, the whole idea around this head coaching hire to begin with was that they wanted someone that was going to be like an ambassador, like someone who was going to come in and be like, okay, this is an international market. These fans have never, other than a few random games that have come up here, have never experienced the WNBA, and these WNBA players for the most part have never experienced this community. And so we want someone who is going to know how to like integrate these players into the community, someone who's going to be able to like get the community excited about these players. And Sandy's just like the perfect person for that. And she kept saying like, oh, like I'm from the Commonwealth, like I know Canada. And I was like, I have not heard the word Commonwealth so many times in so long. But sure, yeah, part of the Commonwealth, let's go. So yeah, that was an interesting part. But yeah, I think it's just like it's exciting, and I'm excited for the fans here to get to know her a little bit more as like a coach, and like how good she is. I'm excited for players to be really excited about coming here because they know that there's a good leadership team here, and that they're building things the right way. And so I do think that's going to like be a big factor in free agency whenever free agency happens. And so yeah, it's just like all around couldn't have like people were asking me on Tuesday as kind of like the person who knows a lot about, the different prospects in the league, like, was there a better choice? And I was like, not really. Like when you think about people who are A available or B like when you think about the unique position of the Toronto team, like not really. Like that's her. Like that's
There's
her.
other people that could have been successful, sure,
Yeah.
but like there's no one that you look at and say like, they probably should have gone with them, or they probably got turned down by this person. Like you just don't pass up that resume, that experience
Mhm.
at all.
Know. Yeah, and it's just so exciting. Like, and I was like, we were talking about our colleagues in New York, and like a lot of them reached out to me. And were like, so excited for you. She's so fun. She like, loves getting to know the media. She even mentioned that on Tuesday. She was like, I definitely understand the importance. Excited to get to know you all. Um, And so, yeah, I'm just like excited to build that relationship with her and just have someone leading this team who like understands the storytelling aspect, especially in a
Mhm.
team's first season. Like, we're going to be building precedent here. We're going to be building a fan base. We're going to be getting people really excited. People are excited here, don't get me wrong, but it's like an excitement of like, oh, I don't really know anything about this league, but I'm excited to learn. And I'm like, okay, like let's start to get to the point where people are learning about this league and learning about these players. And it's just, it's exciting to have someone like her who is really going to help with those relationships and just like be really willing to, help us tell those stories.
All right, let's pivot here quick because as I said in the beginning, we've got several topics that we need to hit. So
Yeah.
before we move to the college season, let's
Mhm.
talk a little bit of Unrivaled. Unrivaled just dropped their rosters for the season, have
Yep.
added a couple of clubs, so expanded the player pool. They've also got a handful of development players that will be there on site and ready to slot in for anyone who's injured or unavailable. But you and I were discussing this, and I have not really been tapped in online because I am somewhat preoccupied in general at the moment.
Just doing grad school. It's fine.
And a little bit of three different sports
Yeah.
of broadcasting and all that fun stuff.
Light work. Light work.
Very much so. But I was really surprised to hear that you and I both have our eye on the same club, and
Mhm.
apparently that's not a common sentiment?
Okay, so I've been slightly more tapped in, I will say. So I wrote power rankings for Unrivaled teams. They're out on Bleacher Report as you are listening, if you feel like going to go look at those, dear listeners. But so I got a little bit of a look at these squads and I was thinking about their potential and who is really gonna be, you know, up there in terms of contenders. And the first team that I saw that I was like, "Whoa, like this team could do something," is one of the expansion teams, Breeze. And they get Paige Beckers as their first pick, which like that's I don't know, that's universal first pick, obviously, of the year. But then they also add Cameron Brink, Dom Malunga, Rakia Jackson, Kate Martin, and Ari McDonald. And I saw that squad and I was like, bro, these kids are going to take these old heads, no offense to any of them, by storm. Like, that's you think about Paige Beckers, and I feel like people don't understand that Paige Beckers has played 3-on-3 basketball. Go look at the tape. Like, she's good at it. And I mean, obviously, her skill set, she's a finisher. She can shoot in the mid range. She can shoot from distance. She's an elite passer. She can rebound. Like, obviously, her game is going to be lent to 3-on-3. Then you have Damalunga, who is such, first of all, fantastic in the post, but also so versatile because she comes from that European background. And like we saw her play against Asia Wilson like a month or two ago. Fantastic pickup. Then you have Cam Brink, who just like under the post, rebounding, finishing, incredible. Mwah.
Would have been a like 3x3 Olympian.
Yes, exactly. Was going to be a 3-on-3, like, yeah, 3x3 Olympian, and like has played for that team for a while. And like so that core, and then you also have Rakia Jackson, you have Kate Martin who can shoot really well, you have Ari McDonald. Like, that's a good team. And then I saw people online being like, they're never gonna win a game. What? Bro. So yeah, that was my thing. I put them really high on my rankings. I was like, Paige Beckers loves to win. Paige Beckers loves to win. But then you also have like Dom Malunga, who I think Paige and Dom's like two-man game. Brilliant. Paige has played with Cameron Brink a lot in their youth. And then you also have all these other factors. Like, it's a good squad.
They have a very like versatile team, which is very important in the 3-on-3 style. And
Yeah.
so I think that especially like since it's 3-on-3, it's not 3x3, like you are going up and down the court. And so they have players that are extremely capable of getting up and down the court, that are extremely capable of, taking advantage of transition opportunities, even in a shortened court. Like when you have that kind of speed and skill that Dom brings, that Rakia
Mhm.
brings, like the length where if you get a hand on a ball, you're basically 2 steps from the rim at any given point in time, like slight exaggeration, but only slight. So I'm definitely also very excited about them. It's also funny just to like look at the different rosters, and
Mhm.
that team is, as we said, very, very young. So 4 players are still on their rookie scale contract on
Mhm.
their team. Everyone else is like the most player, like the most that any other team has that are actually tied to a team or two. Like there's multiple teams where everyone's a free agent. We know there was a little bit of recruiting going on down there in Miami last year, and so
Mhm.
I think that that is
That's gonna be fun.
certainly very interesting. I
I
look
need
at like
Sandy to go to Miami. Let's go.
right, right, 100%. Like, you look at the Lunar Owls, you've got Nafisa Collier teaming back up with Rachel Bannum, who was in Minnesota for several years. I think that that's pretty cool. You look around and there's just some very different approaches. Like the Mist, you have Brianna Stewart, Alana Smith, and Leah Rue. And then
And
on top
Alicia
of that,
Gray.
yeah, I was gonna say on top of that, you have as a guard Alicia Gray, who is very long. And so I think that
People
that
were
is
being weird about that roster too. People were like, "Oh, Brianna Stewart's the only one on the team." I'm like, "Do you Alicia Gray? Hello, bro? What? Huh?" I don't know. I don't know, man. My main thing about that one is like the health. Like if
right.
Brianna Stewart is healthy, that was my big thing. Um,
And maybe that's like their thought too is, hey, maybe Stewie's going to have to miss some games. So let's just go for like the depth. Because the interesting thing with the way they drafted the teams was like they had player pools where you were just not able to stack up one
yeah,
position or one type of player, but
that's the
somehow
point.
you still end up with like a tremendous amount of like, so it's very much like different approaches for different teams. And then when your player development pool is Haley Van Lith, Isaiah James, Haley Jones, Emily Engsler, Leticia Mehier, and Michaela Timpson, it's like, well, if someone's out, you're probably still going to be okay. Like
Exactly.
Haley Van Lith's an Olympian, so that's like
You're Olympian,
the
yeah.
soft spot.
Does not shock me that she's in that development pool. That's really great for her. Um, LA, like, I mean, fantastic, very versatile post player who will definitely like lend to the style very well. Yeah, and just like a lot of really exciting young players. Um, and again, a few like free agents in there too that you're like, ooh. My other thing that I want to say before we move on to college is like I think vinyl is a
I
very
was
super
just looking at that. Yes.
super team. You have BG, obviously, like great post player. Courtney Williams, which like people tend to forget how good she is in kind of that like half court offense
Yeah.
kind of vibes, especially when you kind of shrink it and you're doing a lot of like mid range kind of. Then
And
you have
she's expanded her range to
yes,
be more
yeah,
consistent at the three as well.
exactly. Then you have Erica Wheeler, who had a fantastic WNBA season, was shooting some wild shots. So her game, especially when you think about that whole pressurized fourth quarter of trying to get to a like a target score, Erica Wheeler is going to absolutely like just lend to that so well. And then you have Ryan Howard, of course, and Erica Hamby, who are in their own right like top WNBA slash like basketball players. Erica Hamby is such a good 3-on-3 player. And Ryan Howard too. I mean, she hit the like winning shot to like win the bronze medal at the Olympics against my Canadians. Like, yeah. And then Ray Burrell obviously didn't get to play a full WNBA season. Gonna be great to see her like, you know, be able to
Has
work up a
certainly
little bit
shown
more.
what she's capable of, like
Mhm,
a very good two-way player, which
mhm.
is super important. And just again, you talk about that length. Like Vinyl are, I think, trailing only who is it that we were just talking about? The Mist, as far as like that length and that
Mhm.
height, where they have Dearica Hamby, they have Brittany Griner, and then they have like Ryan and Ray, who are both fairly big as far as like the position they play. And then you do have like Courtney. And so that's, you got to even things out a little bit. But like, as far as the depth of like the height and the versatility, I mean, that's like the whole point of Unrivaled is to
Yeah,
have these really exciting, really different rosters and to give people the opportunity to do things that maybe they don't do as often. Like Dearica has been so solid on the interior, but it forces you to expand your game a little bit to do a
yeah,
little bit more of like the high post, the mid range type thing. And so that obviously will be great for her. Just as far as like when you're a veteran, you only get so many like really true developmental opportunities. And
yeah.
so that's going to be just really cool to see these different groups shake out. And I mean, not to mention that Vinyl's head coach Teaspoon, like
Yep.
that's just it's always fun to see her interact with her group and the way that they develop players there. So
Yeah.
definitely going to be a really fun season.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, the coaches that they have added are incredible. I mean, the head coach of the Nigerian basketball team who has absolutely just been, taking the international game by storm. We saw that at the Olympics. The other team that I'm like really looking at too in terms of potential is Phantom. You have Aaliyah Boston,
Mhm.
Dana Evans, Kelsey Plum, Kiki Iriafen, Natasha Cloud, and Satu Sabli, who will hopefully be able to play because I saw she's still kind of struggling with her concussion symptoms. But that's another sleeper team too. I think it's just like these teams, like
We're gonna be
people,
competitive.
yeah, like people online like to say, like they're kind of playing this game of like, oh, like you were saying top this, top that, and then you get this play. And I'm like, these are still top players in the like so many players in the like the WNBA is such a competitive league that it's very hard to not get anyone who is like a top caliber can perform kind of player. And I think the idea of this league too being like a development league, you have a mix of these players who have already cemented themselves as the league's top teams, but you also have people who have potential to kind of boost their free agency stock, their like WNBA stock. And we see that with both Athletes Unlimited and Unrivaled now, of like this being a really great ground for people to just play freely and be able to show off their skills in a less like pressurized environment. And so, yeah, of course, they're going to get people who might not be in that like all WNBA tier of talent, but people who have potential to get there and to be really important role players to WNBA teams. And I think what is missed in this conversation about like Unrivaled versus WNBA, like they're not trying to, compete with each other. They're supposed to like supplement each other and like be able to lend, talent to one another or give these players an opportunity to, develop before they head to the WNBA and do so in an environment that's less, again, like less pressure, less like we need to win a championship right now, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm really excited for the season. It's going to be great. The coaches are really great. I'm excited for media to start so we can like, again, like last year was really fun being able to cover them, and they Unrivaled as like a over company did a really great job of like giving a lot of people like Zoom access and
Mhm.
making sure that even though like people weren't in Miami, they were able to like still cover the league and have a lot of access. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun season, and I'm excited with the introduction of the development pool as well because last year was a little wishy-washy with how it worked with players coming in and out of teams and blah blah blah, but yeah, and it's going to be a good one-on-one tournament. That's all I can say about that too.
All right, let's move on here to kind of our last
We just hit
last
everything today.
topic, which is obviously a broad one. We got to talk some NCAA basketball, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with my Cyclone minute or two,
Yep,
maybe
go for it.
three.
Maybe
Uh,
3.
and that let's just start here.
Yeah. Oh, man, you gotta give me one of those.
Slam, love it.
She's
What you know
been
about Audie
fantastic.
Crooks? 70th career game last night,
Wow.
hit 1,500 points.
Damn.
I mean,
And,
you're
like
2 games into your junior year.
exactly, that was what I was gonna say, like, she still had a long career to go as a Cyclone.
Chelsea, she has been in double figures every game except her literal first of her career.
Damn. I mean, we knew. Like, I and it's not just because I talk to you a lot, but, like, anybody who watches her hoop knows that, like, truther, like, pure hooper. Like
And improve, like, continuing to
yeah.
improve. Like, I will say that I obviously covered Ashley Jones as a Cyclone, and her career points, 3,060 in 5 years.
Mhm.
Second in Big 12 history, first in Iowa State history. I thought, I mean, very validly, there was no shot anyone could even come close to that because not only is this a prolific scorer, but it's in 5 years. Audie has a very real shot at reaching that.
Yeah.
Like, again, 1,504 points after last night. 2 games into her junior year, the math there, it
Yeah.
works out that there would absolutely be a legitimate chance at her reaching that. And I mean, it just is so wild because in Big 12 history, number 1 is Brittany Griner
Yeah.
at 32.83. And like that was a level of dominance, just a level of unguardable that is like tough to quantify because we've all seen BG at the college level was like wild. It was
Won a championship at
crazy.
Baylor, like,
I
what?
mean, it was
Number 1
unbelievable.
pick
And
for a
so
reason. Number 1 pick for a reason.
yeah, and so it's just like to be looking at this and there's a lot can happen in 2 years,
Yeah.
but just the pace that Audie's on and like again the fact that it's not just that she came in and like this is just what she's doing. She has been so good since she came in, but she
Mhm.
continues to get better. Like she continues to push herself. She's also shooting 75% from the floor over 2 games with the most minutes on the team.
And, like,
Like
and it's just so good, like, you see, like, I was obviously because they played if what, 2 games now?
mhm.
Um, I've seen some, like, film obviously online and, like, just the way that she, like, operates under the basket, is able to just, like, so efficiently score, is so good, just has that, like, touch under the basket
Through the
that's
double, through the triple,
yeah,
like
like, and is able to shoot over that, but also has incredible footwork, is so accurate in her shots, very rarely has to depend on, like, a second chance opportunity, is, like but still could rebound over people, just, like just again, like, pure hooper at that position. It's just, like, really fun to see, and, like, I think there's also a benefit too, and I mean, you and I have talked about this a lot, but, like and she's been very vocally committed to staying at Iowa State for her whole career, like, college career at least, um, and, like, there's something to be said about staying somewhere in the same development pool,
mhm,
having goals every year of what you want to improve upon, having those same voices, helping you develop and, kinda looking at your film and saying, "Okay, this is what we're gonna work on." And then, of course, yeah, you're seeing that improvement from year to year to year because she's in that consistent system and, like,
mhm.
they know exactly what they want from her and whatever, and, I mean, you know that better than anyone, obviously, as someone who calls her games, but also, like, shout out mom over here. But, yeah, I just think, like I don't know if she is eligible for this upcoming draft, but if she does end up staying
She'll
for
be she's not one of the, like, older ones where she would be
okay,
eligible to
so
go yet.
2027 is the thing. I
Mhm.
mean future Toronto Tempo, Audie Crooks. Let's go. We're gonna have a lot of connections, you and I, over the
Hey, that'd be great, but, like, I mean, and also, like, you talk about just the efficiency, she also had 13 rebounds last night, like, she
yeah,
and Addie Brown went out and she told us post-game, like, "Yeah, that was a focus for us because she had 13, Addie had 14. Those 2 combined had the same amount of rebounds as Southern." And so,
yeah,
again, like, this is early in the season, this is competition that, like, yeah, you should win, but the way they're doing it has been really impressive. Like, Addie is finally getting some of her shine, like, on the preseason power forward watch list, on a lot of the national like player of the year watch list as well, which is really gratifying to see people remembering her name
mhm,
and realizing just what she's capable of. And then that last kind of sprinkle of the little bit of extra for Iowa State, I think, to give them the boost this year has been bringing in Jada Williams, who's been
fantastic.
again, you talk about like just vocally committed. Like it was, it's just really cool to hear her talk about like being at ISU, to hear, talking to my mom about how hard she works. And last night she just said, she's like, I'm like, my smile out there is genuine. I love this team. And you can tell like she's a different beast. Like she has the like, and I say this in the best, most positive way possible. She has like the psycho mindset of like, she goes out and if she gets a defensive stop, that is the most hype you will see her. And
Mhm,
so it's like very much the term of endearment. And on top of that, like she went 8 of 13 from the floor as a little bit of an undersized guard. She was 8 of 10 from inside the 3-point line. Like
yeah.
it's absurd. Like everyone has looked very consistent to start the year. Audie had a couple mid-range shots where like she'll feed it inside to Addie Brown, she kicks it back out. I'd swear like everyone on the team to start the year, let me knock on wood a couple of times here. Like if the feet are set, they're knocking it down. And so obviously there's a lot of challenge to come, as Jada told us several times in post game. Like, we know there's adversity ahead. We know that it'll get tougher, but like, they're locked in, they're ready to go. It's just exciting to see all of that. And then on top of that, like, let me wrap up my couple minutes with Audie. Great player, better person.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Currently, her foundation is working on a knock and drop in her home area of Algona to help fight food insecurity that especially is being compounded by the delay, cut, whatever of SNAP benefits. And so that, I mean, just like, that's something she's really passionate about, something she cares about. She's done so much good already and just keeps adding to it. And so it's very easy to cheer for someone like that, where they're a dynamic, compelling player, and then off the court, like, they're just as great. So very exciting start to the season in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, and let me just say, so, like, I say it and people don't call you biased, but, like, big season coming for this team. Like, I think they have a real shot of really competing in the Big 12 is very competitive. There's so many teams now who, like, are dominating. And so it's like they said, adversity's coming. But I think just, like, having a very confident start to the season, to see how their new pieces and, like, old pieces are kind of fitting in, to see, I think, like, people underestimate the level of, like, what confidence and, like, playing in a system that really, like, that you are really, like, fitting into, and, like, an environment really helps, but it does. And so, I don't know, just everything that I've seen from watching their highlights over the past 2 games, knowing the mindset that they're going into last season, whether it's, like, hearing it from you or just, like, seeing it on online, like, I do think it's gonna be a good season, and hopefully, like, the rankings and their, place in the Big 12, once we get into conference play, kinda shows that. But yeah, it's exciting to watch them. They're great, like, for people who like pure hoops, great team to watch.
Like, ball movement, versatility, you got it all. So I'm gonna pivot here and hit another team that I've mentioned here preseason real quick, which is when Brittany and I did our preseason preview. One of the teams that I highlighted was Fairfield, and I said they're gonna have the chance to prove it. They always work really hard to put together a competitive schedule, just knowing that the conference they play in doesn't really buy them a lot of opportunity to prove what they're capable of. And I said, they have a couple of games that is really going to give them the opportunity to show what they're about. And they took advantage of that. Went out, took down Villanova behind 35 points from Megan Anderson, the road runner. Don't call him a forward. Like, I don't want to hear it. Roadrunner, you're welcome. But I mean, unbelievable. 12 of 19 from the floor, 3 of 6 from the 3, 8 of 11 on free throws. Threw in a cool 7 rebounds and a couple assists, a couple steals, for good measure. Like, Megan Anderson, she's on a lot of watch lists because if you know basketball, you know that, like, she's someone you got to watch. But I think that there's going to be a lot of people who maybe haven't quite been tapped into, like, the mid-major level, or, when you only get the things that are coming through, like, the very top traditional media channels, especially in women's basketball, you get a very narrow picture, especially because you still do have great players that are at the mid-major level, even in the era of the transfer portal, NIL, and all that. So I think that this is going to be a team that is so fun to watch. Like, already knew that coming in, but just to go out there and prove it, man, Megan, she's gonna be, she's gonna be a draft pick when she is done. Like, that's obvious. But I think that because she's gonna catch people by surprise, regardless of what she does. Like, just by virtue of being at Fairfield, you're gonna still end up a little bit under the radar. But her ability, her ceiling is so high.
Yeah. And looking at a few of these, there's been some, like, good games, good wins this week. NC State beating Tennessee by 3 points. That's wild.
That was a crazy game. That was a really crazy game. And just, like, we saw the pace, obviously, that Tennessee wants to play with. And Tennessee looked pretty solid, looked pretty well in control in the first half, and then NC State really pulled it together. I frankly was not really sure what to expect, especially like I always will be one to say like you can only judge so much from like preseason and even from early in non-conference, but I saw NC State's preseason games. I said, all right, we'll see.
Mhm.
See, but they were ready to go. 21 points for
Mhm.
Pierre,
Yeah, yeah, was
points
gonna
until the try, like 18 for Zam Jones, who again did so much as a freshman, is really, I think, ready to rock. And yeah, they're going to be really, really fun. And then just to highlight a talking point that we hit on, at least at the beginning of last season, me and Tyler, I know we're kind of banging this drum and we got you going too. Talia Scott.
Mhm.
Let's rewind real quick to Monday and
Yep,
say Baylor beating Duke in
yep.
Paris. I
Good
honestly
game.
I gave Duke the edge there going into it, but if you were to say, "Hey, Baylor is going to win," I would have said, "Yeah." I mean, Talia Scott going for 24 would be a big part of that, and so I haven't been able to sit down and watch the full game yet. I think tomorrow is totally free for me, so I'm gonna catch up on my games. I'm so excited. I
Hell
do
yeah.
have a little bit of grading to do, but mostly I'm catching up on games because I have priorities, and I'm really excited to watch this one back. I mean, Talia Scott played almost 36 minutes. That I think bodes
Kobe
so
played
well.
34 minutes, and, like, so, yeah, you look at this Duke roster, and, like, they don't have very many players right now.
Yeah.
But Toby plays 34 minutes, Jordan Wood plays 27, there's, 38,
Even
30.
Amir 38, like, yeah,
Yeah, like,
that's
that's a lot, and, like, the highest score is Toby with 16, and, like, don't get me wrong, like, she can get hers no matter what, but, like, 16 being your highest and nobody else is in really double figures. I mean, and that's just kind of the Kara Lawson brand of hoops is,
which
like,
at that point, that's something that we've seen for them before, but
yeah.
then you have to be holding your opponent under 50 points. And
Mhm.
so part of that is that Baylor really, I think, got it figured out from what it looked like in the second half. They didn't settle for the three very much, which is something that we've seen on occasion from Baylor. Went 3 of 15 from the perimeter, but got 20 free throws. I think that that's something that definitely Duke can be a little bit exposed on, is that tendency to foul. And so that is going to be something that is really consequential, where they have to get more people involved in their rotations just to battle some of that fatigue and to get more options.
Yeah. Here's my question as someone watching Kara Lawson hoops. Um, is this gonna be the USA basketball system?
This this was a discussion on Monday that I was
I am
having.
watching again, I wanna make it clear, I am a USA basketball rival. That is the word I will use for it at the moment, and so I come into this conversation with somewhat joy at the
It
idea.
I just well, because the thing is that like that's simply not an option for the
Not an
USA basketball style, because that's just like for
option.
who's going to be on your roster. Like, yeah, I mean, place a heavy emphasis on defense
Of course.
because
You're
that's what's
playing
going to
against
elevate you.
Yeah,
But
you're playing against these, like, really top teams around the
and I
world.
mean, that can be what you're trying to develop in camp and in your system, because maybe you feel like that's where you have more room for improvement. But
Mhm.
when you're rolling the ball out there, when you're actually playing the game,
When your team is probably going to be led by Caitlin Clark, maybe not the,
that's and so that's where like it's I mean, a lot of it goes into like your full staff of like, you're gonna have other people who have their hands in things. And so obviously there's adjustments that can be made. But yeah, it's definitely kind of interesting just when you look at like the progression of recent USA basketball coaches. It is a significant departure. And also like again, game one, tough opponent,
Yeah,
not just on the road, but overseas. Like
yeah.
you're not gonna like take too much away from that, but I think my big thing for Duke is that they need to be able to expand their rotation. They need to be able to find a little bit more balance, a few more options. Like last year, they really struggled as a result of relying heavily on Toby Fournier as their five out of necessity because of,
Off the bench
injuries
too.
and things like that. But like that can't be the case this year. You have to be able to get other players in the mix and contributing. And so that's just where I do have some questions as far as like, is it health? Is it just not being quite ready for some of these younger players that do have the height that can play inside? And so that's what I'm really watching for Duke, is to see when they do get their legs under them a little bit, like what does it look like then? Because it should look different than this. But if it
Mhm.
doesn't, I don't know.
And that's the thing too is, like, I was thinking about this, like, Toby Fournier didn't play for Canada all summer. Could have in a few different spots and didn't. And I'm like, "Okay, like, that's fine if" and I don't know why, like, I'm not saying that there was a thing from Duke saying, "Don't play," but, like, had the whole summer to, like, really lock in with training and, like, hopefully that again, first game overseas, whatever, and it wasn't a bad loss, I lost by a couple of points, but, like,
Mhm.
hopefully the work that hopefully was put in over the summer will continue to grow. And yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, it was interesting to me to see that game. And I agreed. I gave Duke the edge. I thought that they were going to beat Baylor, but I mean, that Baylor team I feel like is going to be like a dark horse. They were a horse last year,
Mhm.
Big 12, and so yeah, interesting to see. I mean, again, if we're just kind of going through quick hits of games that we saw, obviously we got to talk about UConn. Uh,
Mhm.
played Louisville. I saw again. You're not as tapped in on online as I am at the moment, but I saw a hilarious picture because Paige Beckers was there, as she would be, and there was a picture of her in the stands, and they put it next to a picture of Gino on the sideline, and they were both holding the same pose. And I was like, "Oh, Paige, little Paige." And she
Yep.
was, like, tweeting, like, "Do I still have eligibility? Can I get on
I
the court?"
did. I saw that UConn posted a picture of like them together, and she was like in a warm up. They're like, "Where did she get that warm up?"
Yeah. Like, they had the warm-up from the team, like, the new addition from this year, like, the new warm-ups. They were like, "How did you get this? You're not on the team." There was a lot of good she posted, like, a meme that was, like, a guy, like, in the living room, and it's, like, the Snapchat thing where it says, like, "Bro thinks he's on the team."
Yes,
And
yes.
she's like, "Me." Like, she was and I felt for her because she was there and she was in the stands and was just trying to watch, obviously. And the fans were getting so intense that they had to, like, take her out of the bleachers because
Mhm.
they were, like, starting to, like, form a line to try and, like, get, like, pictures or whatever with her. Obviously, that's not the point of why she's there. She just wants to watch her team play. But at that point, I was like, "Give her a quarter zip and put her on the sideline, man. Like, let's go."
Just like throw her
Like,
behind the bench at the very least. Like
yeah, literally. Give her, like,
I
the
will say,
water
like,
patty, but bro.
my big takeaway from that game was like that I was really impressed that Louisville fought back. Like it really seemed like UConn was gonna just run away with it completely. And they did not allow that to happen. And I mean, it's not like UConn just rolled out their starters for only 20 minutes. Like
Yeah.
Izzy played 38, Sarah played 38, and even so, Louisville still ended up only losing by 13 points. And so with the fact that like Louisville had a lot of turnover, has a very new team, I think that that is definitely very impressive, both offensively and defensively, and just really good like fortitude to stick through a tough start to the game for sure and still make it competitive.
Mm.
I think that UConn will still get rolling in a big way and showed a lot of what they're
I
capable
also
of.
Yeah, I also think UConn might be holding a little bit back at the moment.
Oh, for
I do think
sure.
there's a little bit of an element of, like, Gino doesn't really want
We're
to
not
show.
totally opening the bag. Like
Yeah,
we're gonna
but,
play a
like
little bit of just like free flowing, like
yeah,
to just kind of do what feels right. And like they did not shoot well from three either. They went 4 of
mhm,
26 from three. So like that will not hold
and
up.
Izzy had 2 of those, like
Yeah.
But, like, you think about too, like, and again, we're saying this of the like, in the whatever of, like, they're not playing their full game, but, like, Sarah Strong, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks,
Yeah.
only had 1 turnover, goes, 9 for 17 from the from the field. I mean, bro, that's like
9 for 14 inside the 3, like, hello.
yeah, like, she's again, like, if that's just her if that's her playing at, like, 6 out of 10, um, we bro, it was funny, I have a friend who, I put him on Sarah Strong, we joke, and we were at the Tempo press conference the other day, and he was just, like, telling people about Sarah Strong, like, "Oh, like, we drafted Sarah Strong." I was like, "Yes, my ministry, it's spreading." He's like, "Yeah,
Oh,
Sarah Strong, like, crazy, whatever, whatever," and I was like, "Yes,
your influence.
spreading the
We see
truth."
it. We see it.
Oh,
All
man.
right, do you wanna give a brief mention of your
My
team
teams?
before we wrap up?
Yeah, go blue. Yeah, Michigan won 100-40. Um, and they're every time you click a box score, noise comes up. But anyway, they win 100-40. Mila Holloway, great game for Mila Holloway. She
Mhm.
scored 21 points, was 8 for 10 from the field, which go off. And I mean, Silas Swords has a little bit of a quiet night with 9 points, but again, like only played 26 minutes. They
When you
haven't
go for 100, that's kinda good to be able to see other people go.
exactly. Yeah, and, like, I think just goes to show, like, Michigan has such a deep roster this year, like, everyone got involved, everyone played, everybody got, point I think the only person who didn't score was Macy Brown, but other than that, everybody scored. Mila Holloway had 21, Olivia Olson with 18, shot made 3 out of 4 from distance. I mean, just good start. It's good when you can get everybody involved and start like building that depth and obviously you want to build as much as you can before you go into the Big Ten, which is a scary conference to be in at the moment. But at the same time, USC isn't obviously at the strength they could be, just given Juju Watkins is out. They lost a few players to the transfer portal. UCLA obviously is a big juggernaut in that conference, but yeah, I think it's just like an exciting time for Michigan. I think they made some really good moves in the transfer portal, got some good recruits. Olivia Olson and Silas Swords going into year 2 is very exciting. So yeah, the big dominant start, which is fantastic. Given, I mean, last year I think their start built confidence in another way. They didn't win against South Carolina, but the fact that they competed against
Yeah.
South Carolina very well, I think was a different kind of confidence builder. Obviously, you want to get the win regardless, but to play like basically like 3 and a bit full quarters being competitive with South Carolina
Mhm.
is an accomplishment in itself. And so yeah, I think it's a different kind of confidence when you win 100-40 in your first game, but yeah, I'm excited to see them just kind of, and I mean, I think people have to go in with the context too of Silas Swords played all summer. Like she did not get a break. She played at the AmeriCup, then she played at the U19 World Cup. Then she was going to play at the U23 tournament in Toronto. She ended up just kind of like staying on the sidelines, but was there and was with the team as well. So big summer for her. So, the fact that she scored 9 points in a game where she only had to play 26 minutes, I'm not worried about it.
And then let's wrap on this as you briefly mentioned USC. Juju Watkins became the first college athlete to directly invest in a pro women's sports team. We had BMAC toss this in our chat for us to make sure we hit this before we were done. She is an investor in Boston Legacy FC of the NWSL, who notably is also involved. Aaliyah Boston
Yeah.
also involved in the ownership group there as
That's
well.
fun. She was like, you know what? Yeah, let's make the name
No,
association
I
here.
I I think that was a factor. And then you've got Caleb Williams, Allie Raceman, and Elizabeth Banks all within the ownership group there.
Yeah.
NWSL obviously very much booming. A super super fun product. Really getting as far as like fan support, really building things up. So
Yeah.
Juju is a
I mean,
businesswoman.
this isn't the first time she's invested either. Like she's invested in Unrivaled, like not just
That's
as an
yes,
NIL player, but she is an investor in
yeah.
the league. So good for her. She got money. she's doing good things with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chelsea, we have stayed about as on topic as we are physically capable of.
So true. Good for us. I'm so proud of us.
I mean, because it helps when you essentially do a pre-show
Mhm.
podcast for just our purposes.
We can tell you about the concert I was going to tonight. We'll get to that when we hit on record.
All right, folks, make sure that you are following us at Her Hoop Stats. Check us out at herhoopstats.com. That's going to be really your best way to find all of your statistics, all your numbers relating to college women's basketball. You can get your rankings for individual players and every statistic. It is awesome, super, super useful. I use it for professional work, but it's really fun just to kind of have that idea of what's going on personally as well
Yeah.
as a fan.
Also, my Her Hoop Stats rankings start next Tuesday.
There you go. Her Hoop Stats rankings coming up. Make sure that you're subscribed for newsletters. We have a whole bunch of great contributors that are covering the conferences as a whole. You can find us on whatever social media platform you're a part of at Her Hoop Stats. You can find me at JSteyz, JSTEYZ. You can find Chelsea at Chelsea Leite. And we'll be back. We'll be around. We've got Her Hoop Stats podcast episodes coming out every weekday. And Chelsea and I will be in the mix. Thanks for listening, y'all.